I check my tuning every week or so. When I pick it up.
This, 'cause I switched the pickups out in this casino.
Oh yeah.
And I like the way it sounds, but I run it through different amplifiers, and I'm like, eh. And then I took the speakers out of that PB Deuce, and that's like, Deuce Mace are basically the same. That's the Sweet Home Alabama amplifier, basically. And I put the speaker in a milk crate, and the combination, I really like the combination of the two better than having it in just a, straight up commercial amplifier. So yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
The ultimate open back cabinet, right?
Yeah,
so,
right?
Yeah.
I've got some pretty basic stuff. Like I got my own PA system just for going around playing gigs and everything like that. And then I kind of have like, I don't know, my own little setup where I can record stuff. Like my dad got me a really nice microphone, and then I just have like a standard Focusrite audio interface that I can just use on my computer, and then Ableton. But yeah, I got the Shure SM7DB, so it's not a cheap one.
No,
but it sounds really nice. So
nice.
yeah, it's definitely really nice to just kind of be able to do that, which, not too long ago you couldn't.
No. Yeah, it's really changed everything that way. It's funny because anyone can record now. It's pretty much like the internet made things more democratic, more just kind of it's all out there.
Yeah.
At the same time, the music industry is going more towards same streaming, like big artists and stuff. But it's nice because you find those gems. People do interesting stuff. It's out there, right? I watched a YouTube video on that recently. They're talking about the promise of the internet was kind of that long tail of creativity where you see a lot of that type of content, and then it seemed to go the other way, but it's still there if you look for it.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah. No.
You were saying before about your guitar. So that was one that your dad got for you. Yeah, I love the fret markers on that one. Like we were saying, that's pretty awesome. And finding a left-handed guitar that you like too. So
yeah, no, they're definitely scarce. It took me a long time to find. I got like a Sunburst Stratocaster.
Yeah,
took me forever because they had them in stores. I looked through like 3 different stores, but then. I'm like, do I really want to buy a $1,200 guitar? And for most people, because they're right-handed, it's super easy to like look for Facebook Marketplace and everything. Cause, people sell like cheap stuff all the time, especially instruments. And I just got lucky and like happened to find one for like a few $100 off. So I was like, yeah.
Nice.
I went for that, and I don't play it as much as I should, but no, it's yeah, I like that. I like that one.
Yeah, James and I are talking about that because he goes and plays in bars and stuff, and he's got his bands, and you only need a couple of guitars, really. You have a nice one you don't take out anywhere you might have at home, and then you got your ones you're going to take on the road. You got to back up or whatever, different sounds.
Yeah.
I just mess around. I mean, nothing I have here is expensive or whatever, but I just like to swap out pickups and have things that are tuned different and play different or whatever. So, but it's I think it's fun when you have different types of gear and it all plays a little different. It forces you to do stuff like different tunings or different whatever. So,
yeah.
When you're doing songwriting, what do you start with usually? You start with kind of an idea of a song with lyrics or vocals, or do you start with just kind of chord structure? I'm very much a riff-based kind of guy. I just sit and like to play riffs and they turn into something. But
yeah, I would say it often starts with an idea. Mm-hmm. So I'll have even just a title or something or just something I know I want a song to be about, and then I always work into a melody first because I'm like, okay, I need to know how this is gonna sound before I can actually get words down. And I don't know, some people say I'm weird for doing that, but I just don't really know how to do words first, and then like to me it feels like you're fitting them in rather than you have your melody and now you're building around it with the words. But that's always just been the way that I've done it, and works for me. So
that makes sense. Yeah, and your voice is like, it's your main instrument, right? So you go around the vocal line a bit in a lot of ways. So yeah, nice.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I got a bunch of half-written songs or like just started ideas, and I'm like, oh, this is so super cool, and I'll go spend a hour or two like you know, fiddling around with something and have like a verse or a chorus or something, and I just forget about it or leave it, go start another one later. I should definitely finish some of mine, but yeah.
I find it frustrating. I'll sit and I'll play a riff or I'll play something. Oh, that's awesome. I love that. I'll remember that. They come back the next day. I'm like, I know where my fingers were on the guitar, but what was I playing? I don't even know. So
I don't trust myself at all. So I make sure if I like something, I'm like, okay, that's going in the voice memos. So
exactly.
I don't forget how I sang it or how I played it, whatever. So
yeah. I think that was the story of Hotel California. I think Don Felder wrote it, and then he just had a little demo he gave them, and later on they're like, "Hey, play it again." And they're like, "No, that's not how you played it. It's different. It's different." So yeah,
like sometimes it turns out better, right? Like you have something, you play it first, and then you know your brain just does a different version of it. And when I did a like little songwriting camp thing out in Vermeer last summer, they kind of a similar concept. They would go and be like, okay, write your chorus, whatever, and now write it 3 different ways.
Yeah.
Right? And then eventually you can pick and pull and you have the best version once you kind of combine everything. Because once you're thinking about it, trying to be like, okay, I have to say this differently, but same idea, right? And just all kind of mashes together, and then you have something great. So
nice.
Yeah, it was a fun experience.
I remember in university I was taking a writing class, and the professor, he was pretty good. He's talking about, you take language, you just circle around the idea.
Yeah.
And it'll just write itself after a while once you circle around it enough and start to, build the language, build the words, build the feeling you're going for. So, yeah. No, it's nice. And I like, too, in your songwriting, you have a nice sense of the form and function, the message and the structure and the way you deliver it. It all works together quite nicely to tell the story, which is... Yeah, I like that a lot. Because a lot of music you listen to now is just repeating. It's just the same, and, you don't really care what the story's about, but, yeah.
No, that's one thing that, especially in the past year, I started doing more. I'm, like, focusing on, like, really strong imagery, and then having the story actually move forward. And, there's always going to be those songs where it makes sense that you repeat the one line a bunch, or the one chorus just keeps going. But yeah, I really like storytelling songs, I would say, more than anything.
Yeah, when I listened to your stuff, I immediately thought about driving up Highway 22. When I come back and forth from the mountains, especially in the fall, and all the leaves are changed color, and you get that kind of light and everything. It's like, that's the feel I get from that open highway feel. It's nice.
Yeah.
So, which seems like a theme you cover a lot, is like say freedom and taking risks and just getting out from the modern life and kind of seeing how it used to be and how the world was before a bit more. That sense of just being free of all that. So yeah, that's awesome. Should we try running through our songs through another time? Give them another run through? If we're in tune and everything?
If you're in tune?
Yeah.
Staring out the window all summer day, nothing to do, maybe scroll my time away, drifting to a daydream about a time long ago. Men headed west to stake claim to a home. Took a lot of courage to face the unknown. No mercy in the land, some crops just wouldn't grow. But they push on through and make an extra mile. Wonder if I get there, gonna sleep on it a while. If I was a maverick, I'd settle on the Go to town with Archie and win a couple fights, then drink a little whiskey to keep me warm at night. A Maverick is his own man, alone is not afraid, does an honest job, expects it on his pay. Rides out every sunrise, dirt from hat to boots, hightail in the pastures, cattle running through. If I was a maverick, I'd settle on the plains, find myself a field and learn to pray for rain. Or go to town with Archie and win a couple fights, then drink a little whiskey to keep me warm at night. The call of the prairies, wild winds blow. A maverick's not bound by the tracks in the road. No walls to confine me, no rules but my own. Just the sky stretched above an empty canvas. I could roam. If I was a maverick, I'd settle on the plains, find myself a field and learn to pray for rain. Go to town with Archie and win a couple fights, then drink a little whiskey to keep me warm at night. Oh, I'd drink a little whiskey to keep me warm at night.
Yeah, because I remember like Michelle at work, she gets the email from me. She says, "What's this? What's this?" I'm like, "Hey, go on, show me that. What is that?" And so, yeah, it was pretty interesting right from the get-go. So, yeah. Tell us a bit about what it's all about, why you reached out to us, and how that came about.
Yeah, I guess I can just start from the beginning of the whole story. It was my first Epilepsy Calgary Gala that they do every year in April. And Kelly Rudy's grandson, his name was Maverick. Well, still is Maverick, obviously. Yeah. But I think he was 6 at the time, and his mom had given a speech just, saying about all the tough times and the perspective as a mother of a kid who has epilepsy and all the challenges about it. And, when I first heard that, I was kind of just talking with my dad, and he was like, "Hey, you should go see if you can go write a song for the kid," right? Because, music for me always been super helpful, and, if I could do anything to help someone else or just make their day better, I was like, I think it's a great idea. So, we went over and talked about it, and she was super on board, super excited about it. So, that song, it kind of came together pretty naturally, I would say. It didn't take me too long, just because I know some of the stuff you have to go through and how strong you have to be. And my dad was like, "Well, right? Like, Mavericks used to be these settlers that would go out to the west to, start creating a home and everything out there." And I was like, "Oh, well, that's a great idea. Like, maybe we should just write about it like that." And yeah, I just started coming up with some stuff, and then was bringing it over to him, and he was like, "Okay, we'll change this, change that," right? Like doing all his editing to fine tune the song, and it kind of all just fell together, and we showed them, and they loved it so much, and then it kind of led to another thing where we're just like, well, why don't I start doing a little custom auction item with Epilepsy Calgary, being like, hey, you bid on this and you get to have me write you a custom song, because we were just trying to think of, you know, another way to get more money to the charity, because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. It's a really important cause to me as someone who has epilepsy, and that organization is just great. Like, they do so much great work, and I've done one song already, so that was last year's, and it was in the silent auction, so it got about, I think it was like $175, which wasn't too bad for just being like, hey, I'll write you this acoustic song, right? And then that just kind of led into the whole thing of, well, if we step it up a bit, right? Like, and donate this full-on, like, professionally done song, like, that could be in the thousands for, right? Because there will be someone who's, you know, interested enough, and then that helps Epilepsy Calgary out, like, a lot more. And, you know, also it helps me by giving me some more material that I can throw up on Spotify and everything like that, just kind of help my career out as an artist. And so we chose to do this project, the Maverick project, as a way to kind of showcase, hey, this is what you'll get, right? So we can do it as an actual live auction item.
Yeah, nice.
And show this video that'll be recorded in studio during the recording day and everything. And yeah, it should be a whole lot of fun. Super excited about it. And then, yeah, I was just reaching out to other people, being like, you know, hey, this is a super cool project. I'd love you guys to be a part of it. And yeah, reaching out to you guys for sure. I was like,
yeah, I was pretty impressed, because a lot of times now you don't get people just kind of reaching out as a human and just taking a risk and saying, hey, what do you think of this? Like, I'd love to see that. That's awesome. So, and then, yeah, I listened to the song and the kind of themes of taking risks and freedom and stuff. It was a good fit for us. I liked it. So, yeah, why not, right? And I like your style. I like what you're doing in the songwriting. So, the Epilepsy Calgary, from what I've, you know, what you said and what I've looked on their site and stuff. So a large part of their message is awareness of epilepsy, because like, we all take first aid, right? And that's, you get it in first aid a little bit, they cover it a bit, but that's one of the big challenges. People don't know what it is, how to react to it, what's going on. Like, can you tell us a bit more about, you know, that side of things, the awareness side? So.
Yeah, and I think it's, for whatever reason, it has a lot of stigma around it. And I think that it's important people know, especially how to deal with it if they do see it, because, you know, that's when everyone starts to panic and do unnecessary measures, because, yeah, they're scary to be around and everything like that. But, you know, at the end of the day, as long as you can handle it properly, it usually isn't like too scary. But it, you know, obviously epilepsy is a lot broader than most people think, right? Everyone thinks it's all about flashing lights, does stuff, but there's like all kinds of crazy triggers and everything like that.
And people don't know what's going on if they see it either. You know, they don't understand. They've never seen it before. They've never heard about it, or, you know.
Yeah, and I think it's important for people to know what to do, because, you know, all that you really need to do if someone is having one is just, you know, recovery position, and make sure they're not kicking anything else, you know, just clear an area and keep their head off the ground, everything like that. So yeah, I've been around it, and you know, obviously I don't know what's happening when I'm unconscious, but
for sure
it's no, it shouldn't be something that people are so afraid to talk about. It's one of those things that it's important for people, especially with epilepsy, to know that like it doesn't define them. I'm still getting up on stages in front of hundreds of people. Something could happen at any time, and that's a risk I'm willing to take, and you know, I'm not ashamed of it. I don't hide it. So
when I was little, like grade 2 or 3, I don't remember, my best friend on the farm was a dog named Cisco. He's a Dalmatian, and you know how farm dogs do. He got tangled up with a truck coming in the yard, and then my mom sat me down after that and said he got hurt, and he'll just have a seizure. And he started to every so often. He said, it doesn't matter. You just sit down in the grass next to him, and when it happens, as long as when he comes around, he knows that you're there, you know, you're looking after him, and it's okay. And it didn't seem scary, it didn't seem unnatural to me. You know, from a little kid, you see it, and it doesn't bother you because you're just used to it. And after that, it just seemed normal, right? So, but you know, I think most people go through their whole life and they're never going to see it or experience it. And if they do, it's going to be, you know, shocking to them a bit. But it doesn't have to be, you know.
Absolutely. And I've been lucky enough, like the biggest part or like period when it was really bad for me was kind of all throughout high school. And I was lucky to have only one at school, and thankfully, you know, I had one of my best friends with me to kind of deal with the situation, how it should have been dealt with, and everything was fine. So it's definitely important to have those people. And Epilepsy Calgary, like, not only are they just trying to make it more common knowledge, but they got so many support groups for people who have epilepsy, and they're just great. I love them.
Well,
the people there are awesome. Their programs are awesome. So
nice.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Miss Teen 16, beauty queen, long blonde hair in the breeze, riding shotgun, shooting the loop on Main Street. That farm boy didn't stand a chance when they had that first dance. The screech came from the jukebox and the music stopped. He said this vinyl may be scratched, but it don't gotta ruin what we have. Baby, you and I will write another song. Let's just keep no record wrongs. Yeah, let's keep no record wrongs. Love is patient, love is kind of love like that is hard to find. They knew right away that they were meant to be. Yeah, they shared the same dreams, house, car, couple nights to feed. So she looked into his eyes and said to him, this vinyl may be scratched, but it don't gotta ruin what we had. Baby, you and I will write another song. Let's just keep no record wrongs. Yeah, let's keep no record wrongs. Forgive, forget, and forgive again. We'll make it so that in the end you won't find any record of wrongs. Yeah, this vinyl may be scratched, but it don't gotta ruin song. Let's just keep no record wrongs. Oh, let's keep no record wrongs. Yeah, let's keep